What's up, guys? Welcome to Chasing Politics. I'm Jeff, and this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, April 4th. Quick look at our 10-day weather here. You see we have another quick little front moving through over the next 2 days, coming in cloudy Thursday, and then some showers on Friday. And then this thing's gonna kind of blow out here on the back side of it, but we do have temperatures returning to some nice springtime, 72, 75 coming up here throughout the week. So there is good weather to look forward to. Quick look at our wind here. Drop a pin, just so we get some reference here of our colors. But so Thursday, we still kind of got some fog rolling in this evening here already. So it's on its way. But we're going to have that northwest to west wind as the storm moves through. There is going to be some uncivil weather, chance of thunderstorms as well. And as you can see, this is a pretty more westerly angle. So you can see a lot more wind swell. It might put a little bit of damper on the water temps as it comes through here. This kind of depends on how hard it blows. But really the damage is not really here on the front side. It's going to be on the back side of the storm as we move into Monday. And more or less on the outer waters. So 18, 22 knots, 25 knots. Going to be a little bit nasty out there. Lots of wind swell. Small craft advisory looks like hanging around until Saturday morning-ish. But you're still going to have 3 to 4 foot swells or wind chop out there on top of the swell. So really not going to be conducive to going out fishing for a while until maybe Sunday when the stuff starts to lie down. But as of right now, weather looks pretty nice after that. It's springtime. So conditions are very dynamic, so to speak. So you can't really have a lot of faith in these long-term forecasts when it comes to weather. Really, 48 to 72 hours is probably going to be your best bet, and even then, things can change here. So currently looking at our 3-day sea surface temperature chart, and things are still looking pretty good for this time of year. 62 degrees for April, not bad. All things considered, we do have a little El Nino going on, so that's kind of helping these water temps a little bit. That last storm did not really do any damage here. Just this chart doesn't look spectacular because really we've had so much cloud cover the last few days. But we did get a lot of runoff, and this always stirs up the water. This chart is a little bit misleading here because you see a lot of this orange color, and this is normally associated with a red tide, but this is really just a change in water color because there's been so much runoff, and the water's been really turned up and muddy. So, like I said, I've been watching this. It looked a lot worse a couple days ago, but this orange stuff has been going away, and it'll probably continue just to go back to more of a chlorophyll-looking chart. So don't panic on on any red tides at the moment, but let's kind of go around the horn here and see what kind of happened last week. Things have been pretty quiet up here at the Channel Islands. There is a little bit of squid around, but no signs of game fish yet. Most of the boats are just getting out for the start of rockfish season, which was started on April 1st. Those limits that we talked about have not been signed into law yet. So as of right now, the 2023 rockfish limits are still in effect until this thing is signed in. And the only way to know that is to verify on the California Fish and Wildlife website. So my recommendation, what I would do, is obviously you already have your fishing license because you're following the law. I would still have a descending device on your own boat. That's what you're going to do if you plan on rock fishing. 3, I would pull up the Department of Wildlife fishing regulations on your phone and screenshot it before you leave the dock. That way, if the law changes while you're out in the water or something like that, say, hey, I checked the website. Here's a screenshot. There's a date stamp and the website in the picture. You got some backup because you know how this goes. It's not about what you got because that doesn't really matter. But when you come back and you got 4 reds and all of a sudden the limit's 2 reds and you don't have a descending device on the boat and they're going to bang you for 2 over and then, of course, You didn't have your descending device, and you're not following regulations. So just make it easy on yourself. Just you always got to dot your I's and cross your T's. Don't get yourself in any silly trouble that's completely unnecessary. So screenshot that regulation page before you leave the dock, and make sure that you're keeping an eye on it, because it's probably going to change here in the next week or so as soon as someone signs it. It's government. Things always go slow, but it is what it is. So moving down south, someone came out, I believe the Elder came out and looked at Nick. No signs of game fish. They did a little bit of rock fishing out this way. Santa Barbara, I really haven't heard much intel again on. This is always a boom or bust island. There's probably a little bit of squid around and maybe a chance at the sea bass. But again, things seem to be a little late with the sea bass this year, or maybe the waters are warm. Same with Catalina. A couple sea bass did get picked up here earlier in the week. This is not lights out fishing or anything like that. No one is selling squid if you're looking for it. So you have to make your own or bring some frozen if that's something that you want to try sometime this week. But the conditions for the storm kind of turned everything upside down. So you got to kind of wait for things to kind of settle in again before it all kind of comes together here. Think of offshore fishing as a nice etch-a-sketch. When you start drawing out lines and patterns of things that you're looking for, a storm comes through or a big windstorm comes through and just shakes the whole thing up. So you kind of have to start all over again and see how things align before you can kind of get going. So the first pokes around looking at San Clemente have been not great. Just rockfish going on at the moment. No signs of game fish. The first places, again, I'd probably start looking Pyramid Cove and backside by the runway. Probably find some squid. When it starts showing up, that's when you probably see a little bit more game fish action as well. Moving further down south. There has been a little hit and miss on this corner at La Jolla. Last week we saw some squid on it and got the home guard yellows kind of get going a little bit. Quite a few boats out there from what I saw, but hey, close to home, nice day on the water. Why not? Give it a shot. Birds obviously are going to be your best sign, but as of late, I heard that some red crab have moved in, which is a very typical pattern for an El Nino. And if we're just seeing them now, I'm sure you're going to see much more of them as we move into spring. If I remember correctly, before we saw them a lot in May, if I remember, is when we saw them really, really thick. It kind of just depends on the area. Again, every year's different. Yeah, it's an El Nino. This is not going to be a 2015 El Nino. We mentioned that last week as well. So, but things are looking good, and you kind of just got to give this thing a little bit of time to work in its way. Same with Coronados. Not a whole lot going on. This water's really greened up right here, so it's going to take a little bit of time as well. Those bluefin that were caught down south, way down here by the catcher's mitt. People went out looking for them earlier this week, did not find them. So that's the thing with dynamic springtime conditions. Like I said, you start looking at the one pattern, the fish line up on one spot, it looks good, and then all of a sudden, everything's shaking on the etch-a-sketch, and you got to start over. So the first poke down here, no signs. So they could have ran 50 miles south, could have been, come east. You just got to get a little bit of time. A lot more boats will be out in the water here now that rockfish season has started. So we'll have a lot more eyes in the water as well. There's still numerous boats stuck at the dock doing boat work, Coast Guard, testing for emergency evacuations. So there's a slew of them. So if you're looking for your favorite boat to come online, just watch those schedules or wherever they're at, I'm sure, or follow along on their social media. You'll see a lot of them are still getting stuck at the dock, unfortunately. But that's sport boat life and commercial fishing and Coast Guard. So it is what it is. But yeah, other than that, guys, all good signs. This is probably too far to come in a private boat. In my opinion, from San Diego, and you really don't have a good weather window at the moment until maybe later next week. So probably not a whole lot's going to change between now and then with the amount of swell that's going to be up from that windstorm. But you're still talking over 100 miles. As I mentioned before, springtime, I think hard edges are your best sign, especially on the edge of some structure here. And you can kind of see this green water is lined up here on the double 220, the knuckle 295, then kind of arches down here. So these are the things I look for to give us. I mean, we're on the 3-day chart here, so maybe one day should probably not be that great. But let's take a looky. But you see how this thing kind of starts firming up. So we'll give it a couple days. A lot of wind is going to really probably tear this whole thing up all over again. So we'll see what happens. But most importantly, you want to keep the lower half of this chart not looking like this. And then it's just be messy for a while. So, but we'll see how it plays out. That's it for this week, guys. Be safe out there. Have a great weekend. And we'll catch you next week. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out our website and online store at chasingprojects.com. And make sure you share the stoke.